and maybe they're giving her pushback because they're like, yo, you're just supposed to and shake hands and, look, not pretty. I don't want to say pretty, but you're just like the prop. You're supposed to just be the prop, and maybe she doesn't want to be the prop.
You're
Does
right.
that make sense?
Look pretty and kiss babies. No, you're right.
Yeah, she doesn't want to just be.
That's what they wanted to do.
I feel like she just doesn't want to be like the prop to the VP, like how it's been. And I know that I don't want to diminish the role of the VP because they do have agendas, they do have different things, but I don't know why they're going so hard on her particularly. But so what are we talking about? I know we started off.
I know, right? So this episode, we're talking about to sell out or not to sell out.
Yes.
Sakafet, you're listening to Unfiltered Lyman with BLT. Every week, we will reflect on our journeys on trying to navigate between our parents' traditional culture versus American culture. We are your hosts,
Bertie, the Haitian sensation,
Lisa, the Dominican diva,
and Terry, the tantalizing Trini.
No one's talking, so let's get unfiltered.
Yeah,
the money machine. Yeah. So we're talking about day to day, our roles as women, our roles as Black women, our roles as men, even too.
Yeah,
to sell out or not to sell out. People in general, their roles. So one of the items that we were going to talk about tonight is our wonderful VP, Kamala Harris. There's some people that feel like you mentioned, she's just supposed to kiss the babies and smile and, but she has an agenda. And a lot of people in her administration are leaving, that she has some open positions. But I feel like with any administration that has been in office, there's turnover. That's just what it is.
Right.
You have a new administration come in, you have a new team come in. Sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't. And if she has a style of working that maybe some people in the government are not ready for, or in her cabinet that are not ready for, there's going to be people that are going to leave and there's people that are going to be dismissed. So
I also feel like you have to be able to trust the people that are around you. So if I'm a leader and I'm coming in, if I don't feel like I could trust you to be in my surrounding, right, then I think that also plays a part in maybe she doesn't trust y'all to have her back or to do what y'all supposed to do. Because look at here, y'all did dismiss and y'all going on the news talking about, oh, she's this, she's that, she's that. So maybe there's a reason why you got dismissed.
Exactly. Because no one wants to talk about the hard work that's actually getting done, right? They're here to talk about the negative part. Nobody wants to talk about the hard part.
Right.
And there are those that do sell out,
Yeah, they sell out for, this person says, okay, if you give me the dirt. And let's talk about selling out. Because I also feel like people will sell you out to get clout, to get a little bit of more, like, you know what I'm saying, following or money or whatever is promised to them. And there's nothing wrong with that, but just be honest about your sellout. Just if you're going to be a sellout and you be like, look, I have loyalty only to myself and it doesn't matter what happened because I want this, whatever, then do that. But I do feel like people don't care about, like you said, her agenda, or they don't care what she's doing. At the end of the day, if they have the opportunity to sell her out, or they have an opportunity to be like, yo, you know what I'm saying? I'm going to, like, not ride her coattail in a way. Because I'm like, if you don't have Kamala, what's your story?
So just so we clear it out for our wonderful listeners out there and our D-Lyman crew, what is the definition of a sellout? It's a person who portrays something to which she is said to owe allegiance.
Repeat that again, please, one more time for the people in the back.
A sellout is a person who betrays something to which she is said to owe allegiance to.
So I guess my question is when these people are selling out, they have allegiance to somebody, or is their allegiance to themselves?
That's what I'm saying. So that's why they're a sellout, because let's say all three of us are in this partnership, right? Mm-hmm. Let's use unfiltered partnership, right? Our allegiance is to all three of us, right? Correct. To the business. Mm-hmm. But I feel like, oh, you know what? For some reason, I know I made this allegiance to y'all, but I have an opportunity maybe to get more clout, so I'm going to sell y'all out, even though I made an allegiance to this. That's what a sellout is, because my allegiance was to this, but now I'm doing opposite to what I said I was lying. I was lying to making sure that, you know what I'm saying, all three of us were successful. Yep. So now all of a sudden I'm like, you know what? Bump y'all. I can do this on my own and get my own clout. I don't want to be aligned to y'all no more, so I'm selling out. Basically.
And then also too, when used in a racial context among African Americans, which is typically sometimes a sellout, is a disparaging term that refers to blacks who knowingly or with gross negligence act against the interests of blacks as a whole.
One more time for the people in the back, please.
When used in a racial content among African Americans, sellout is a disparaging term that refers to blacks who knowingly or with gross negligence act against the interests of blacks as a whole.
Is it ever okay to sell out?
No, it's not.
It's not okay to ever sell out?
Wait a minute. Hold on now. Hold on. Wait a minute. Okay, go ahead, B. Go ahead.
Hold on.
No, I want Lisa to elaborate. You're saying it's never okay to sell out.
I don't think as a your personal character as a person, I don't think it's okay to sell out. Because at the end of the day, all you have is your reputation and your word. Your word is your bond. That's all you have. So I don't think it's okay to sell out and not be true to who you are. So I don't think it's okay.
In the black community, I'm going to use the black community because I know that's a big thing, is snitches get stitches. So if you live in an environment where, and we talk about this all the time, right? An environment where if, let's say you're part of the environment, but they're not, okay, you've aligned yourself with this bad environment or bad culture, bad standard or whatever. Is it, so you're saying because of that, like if I'm loyal to because these people raised me or whatever, but it's not an appropriate environment, I shouldn't sell out? I'm just trying to understand so you're saying under any circumstances, is it okay to sell out?
But B, you have to understand. No, wait a minute. You have a point, okay? If you're selling out, you need to make sure that you're selling out for the right reason. Just like you said, because you're saving your ass. So if you're going to sell out, yes, sell out to save your ass. But you have to know, whenever you sell out, trust me, somebody will look to sell you out also. So you have to know that when you get into that ring. That's a must.
You know why I bring this up? I look at our community, right? And a lot of times we have confliction with selling out people. And I'm not saying sell out in a bad way, but I'm saying sometimes we put up with, let's say we know cousin JoJo is selling crack down the street to neighborhood kids and all this other stuff. I'm just saying, like, let's be honest about selling out, because in our community, we have a big thing about covering up and not, you understand what I'm saying? We cover for bad behavior or bad, and we want to change. So we can't tell people they can't sell out or all this other stuff when in our community, that's a big thing. Like, because people worry about, I don't want to sell out because I'm, all this stuff. But if it's really a detriment, I guess, to our people or to our community or to our family, when do we, going by the definition, if you're aligned with your family, have allegiance to your family, but your family is not really the family that they should be because they're, let's say it's a bad environment or it's a bad situation, is that okay to sell out? I mean, people are put in these situations all the time.
Yeah,
if you're married... Yeah, if you're married, right, and your husband or your wife is abusive or doing stuff that is not, you understand what I'm saying? You're aligned yourself, you made an allegiance to this family, you got kids or whatever. Is it okay? Like, you understand what I mean? Like, is it okay? There's all type of scenarios that present itself. Like, is it okay to sell out? If you are with a group of friends and you just no longer like growth, we all talk about doing the work and growth, right? And you no longer
you outgrow people, right?
Yeah. Is it called selling out?
No, if you outgrow a group of people, I don't think that's the same thing as selling out.
Okay.
If I outgrow my group of people who I'm around.
But would they think that you're selling out if you're doing things?
I think selling out is if I leave the group and then I go and tell somebody else all the deets and all the stuff that they doing to get ahead. I think that's selling out. But if I'm just like, yo, I outgrew and I'm going to go over here and do my own thing, that's not selling out, in my opinion. I don't think so. I think that's just outgrowing a situation and outgrowing people. Yeah, like if you work for one company and you leave one company and you go work for the next company, if you go to that new company and you take all the information from that past company and you give them all the secrets, I feel like that's a form of selling out. But nah, if I outgrow this company and I go work for another company, that's not selling out.
But
most of the time, though. Go ahead, Terry. Go ahead, Terry.
But wait. Haul and pull up.
But most of the times, don't that new company hire you because of those things? Because you're bringing, technically, you may not.
Yes,
I know. And
you sign a non-disclosure. You can take the things that I have learned, but I cannot take the secrets of that company.
But the things that you learn is the secret, though. So subconsciously, really, you may not subconsciously. Okay, so and I'll use hospitality.
If someone teaches me how to sunny side and flip an egg, right? The technique of flipping of the wrist, that's a new technique that I learned. Is it the secret of that company? Because the secret of that company is the ingredients that they put in those eggs.
But what
it's not the technique of flipping the flipping of the wrist and how to flip an egg?
But if you go to a new company and they didn't have this technique, it could be the secret. So who's to say what
the technique and how to do it, but it's not the ingredients.
But if, let's say the other company you go work for, the only thing that they're missing is that ingredient, the technique. Would it be you're showing them the technique? Maybe they've had all the flipping of the eggs. Maybe they had all the ingredients. For some reason, every time they flipped, they didn't use the wrist. I know we're going silly on this, people, but I'm just saying. Let's say they had all the ingredients, right? Let's say they had all the ingredients, but for some reason they just don't know how to flip the eggs. And you come in and you say, "Oh, I learned this technique," but you learned it from this company. Because without this company, you wouldn't have learned it, right? So the thing is it? I don't think it's like you said. I don't think it's sellout. But let's be realistic. Let's say if you stay in the same industry. I will use hospitality. If I'm going from one place to another property, they are hiring me because of what I learned from this company. That's a given. Whether they want your contacts, they want that skill. Whether it's a technique, whether that techniques you just learned, they want to find out how can I make myself better. So she was working. Maybe there's some things Is it selling out? No, I'm outgrowing, but I have this skills. It's just a giving. So if this company, like you said, Lisa, didn't know that they need to flip the wrist a certain way, it's a technique that you learned, though. That was the only thing that was missing. I don't know. I don't know if it's a sellout or not, but they're going to say, oh, we were missing the wrist. The flipping of the wrist. So Lisa knows how she learned it. That's what we're missing. So we need her to show us. So we want to hire her. So is she going to tell us how to use the wrist? And you thinking like it's a skill. But guess what? You're showing them like, oh, that's what y'all...
Yeah, but it's still my wrist. Nobody can do it like how I can do it.
But the technique was not your technique.
That's what she said.
That's a skill. I'm just saying, the way I flip it and rewind it and twist it, even if I showed you, you still can't flip it and twist it and rewind it the way I do it with my finesse.
Yes, Lisa,
you can't do it like I can do it.
Come with it.
You can't do it like I can do it.
Lisa.
And even if I come in and I show you, when I decide to leave, you still ain't gonna be able to flip it and rewind it and reverse it like I can.
Yes, Lisa, come with the flip.
But it's a technique, though.
You can't.
But it's a technique. You learned it. You can't say that.
It's a technique that I learned. It's a technique and it's a skill that I learned and I mastered. So I came over there because you provided an area for me to master it.
Mm-hmm.
Right? You provided an area and I mastered it. So even when I go over here, when I flip it and rewind it and reverse it, I'm doing it there, but nobody can do it like I can do it.
But that doesn't mean that they're not gonna learn from your technique, because just like you learned it,
but they still ain't gonna finesse it like I can.
But you can't say that because you had to learn it, Lisa. Techniques are learned and mastered. Techniques are learned and mastered.
But people got different gifts and skills, right? And their finesse makes it different, because what if you three of us go and they teach us all three the same thing, the way we finesse it is going to be different. We can all be taught the same thing, but we're all going to finesse it differently, right?
That's correct. I agree.
And based on the way that we finesse it, it's going to produce three different results.
Correct.
I agree.
Right? So based on those three different results, one of them is the game changer. If that one person is the game changer, if they remove themselves from there, you might be able to, they did it like this and they did it like that, but they didn't have that finesse.
I agree.
That's what I'm saying.
I agree.
I agree somewhat to that. Not all the way, but somewhat to that.
Let me tell you.
You know why I say that?
Because our ways, the other cultures can't do it, right?
Here we go.
Yes, that is true. That is true. In certain things, in certain things, I would agree with that, but not in everything. I don't feel like in everything that works.
So, okay, if you don't feel in everything that works, what is that area that you feel it does not work in then B?
Like, it's a skill you master, right? So I think like in cooking or different things like that. Yeah, everybody has their style, but when you go to a five-star restaurant, they produce their chef teaches people how to produce things that come out the same, right? Okay. It has to come out the same because they need it to be mastered and their signature needs to be the same. So they have to get people to master that skill because they want their product to come out the same, because they don't want your finesse, right? They want it unless it's yours, the product needs to be the same across the board because that's their signature. So on that end, you understand what I'm saying? So that's why I said it's a skill that people can learn certain skill, and you could have your own thing. Like, you learning like, they teach you how to cook this, but at your house, you may do it differently. But when you go to the restaurant, you can't do it. You can't finesse it because it's not your stuff.
So that's a beautiful example. So let me ask you a question. When you go get the same exact dish at Cheesecake Factory in Georgetown, the Cheesecake Factory in New York, does it taste the same?
No, it does not.
They should, though.
Why? It should, but why?
Right, because New York have their own flair.
I understand that, but
New York have their own flair.
Yeah.
Score.
That's what I'm talking about. They flip it, reverse it. Flip it, reverse it, the finesse. The finesse of that one, the hands, right? It's the hands. Right. So we talking about cooking, right? So let's get into it real quick, all right? So we talking about the hands, right?
Right.
Every hands are not created equally.
Correct.
Okay? So the way it's finessed at this one restaurant ain't the way it's finessed at another, even though the recipes that come down from corporate are all the same because this is the way it's supposed to be prepared, right?
Correct.
But let's keep it real. Everything you touch, B, they don't get the same feeling every
Correct.
time, right?
Correct. I agree.
I'm just saying.
I agree. But if you put, but the thing is, if you watch, like, what's the guy, Gordon Ramsay Gordon or whatever, and watch his show, that's one of his things. Like, when he goes and help these people out, you know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, it may not be from finesse, but the thing is, if it's not also consistent, you could tell. So I agree with you. At the end of the day, we all have our own spin, but I just think there are certain things like consistency sometimes. You understand what I'm saying? It could be, you could learn certain skills. I may finesse it, but there are certain skills that, to be consistent, let's use, like, the skills and the technique. The skill and the technique of what you may put your own flair to it, but there's just certain skills and consistency that is certain things that need to stay the same because it's just what it is, you know?
Yeah, I agree with you. That's true. Whew, ladies, to sell out or not to sell out? Whew, that got real spicy real quick.
I think you should sell out if it. No, let me stop. I think, let me rephrase. I think for me, nobody can tell somebody, like, if you are selling out for whatever reason you feel you need to sell out, like Terry said, like, be honest about your sellout is what I'm saying. Like, if I'm gonna sell you out, I want you to be like, you know what, I had this allegiance to you, but fuck you now because of whatever reason. I'm about to sell your ass out. Goodbye. Just be honest about your sellout is all I'm saying. Like, don't, because it's gonna come out anyways. So hiding it and all this other stuff, you don't need to do all of that. Like, for me, I'm one of those transparent people. Like, if you're gonna sell me out, just tell me you're gonna fuck me over, and I'll be like, oh, cool. I was expecting it, so thank you. Goodbye. Have a nice day.
No, you're right. You're right. You're right. At least be transparent about it, right? Be transparent about it.
You prepared me for whatever was coming down the pipeline. I think that's what makes a sellout, you know what I'm saying, like, bad. Is because they normally, you think you could trust these people, and it's like,
that's true.
There we go.
Woo. So, D-Liming crew, listen, please, I need you to tell us your opinion on selling out or not selling out. Do you feel that you would sell out, or do you feel you would not sell out? Or is it the finesse, as Lisa would say, it's the finesse, how you work it? So yes, please let us know. We would really, really like to know what your thoughts are on this subject here. All right, B. You have sold out.
Have you ever felt like you sold out, or would you ever sell out? And if you would sell out, what would make you ever sell out?
Ooh, good question.
Wow, that's a good question. I'm going to speak first. I personally take pride in being a person of my word. Okay. Say I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it. I will admit there's times that I feel like I don't feel like doing it anymore, but because I try to be a person of my word and integrity, do what I say I'm going to do. Okay. So with that being said, I do my best to try not to sell out. Okay. If this is how I feel about something, this is my stand on something, it is what it is. Okay. Now, there are times that my views have changed over maybe potentially learning something new. I've received some more information or facts on a subject, and my views have changed. As long as it doesn't harm anyone, I don't consider myself a sellout.
Okay. How's you, Terry?
What typically the sellout term in our community? No. That's my views. You need a moment? Sound like Terry needs a room.
Is that what it is?
Listen,
loaded.
It is loaded because I am a firm believer. It's like a frisbee. You throw it out, it comes back. So if I'm throwing out a sellout, trust me, somewhere down the line, somebody will be selling out my ass. I mean that. I know. I mean, and I have to be, if I'm gonna do it, it has to be something that I know that's going to be beneficial for me, like work-wise. to get to where I need to. But that sounds so grimy, though. See, that's all.
Yeah,
That's
I know what you're saying.
you know something.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, I know what you're talking about in the workplace. It's like you selling out to get ahead.
Right.
Yeah,
But
in the workplace, I try to stay as true to who I am
yes,
as possible.
exactly.
Like what you see is what you get. Like I try to. Yeah, because that, right, to me, I feel like that will come and bite you in the ass.
Because even though you're selling out somebody to move up, when whoever you sold out to, trust me, they're gonna be looking at you with the side eye. So because they're gonna feel like, well, if she could do that to him, she could do that to. So like you said, Lisa, I stand by being true to who I am. So that's a hard one. I don't think I have an effective answer for that. I ain't gonna lie, because I can't. Yeah, to me, selling out just like that, you lose something when you sell out. You do. You lose something when you sell out.
You lose a piece of yourself.
Yeah,
you lose a piece of yourself when you do that.
It's
unless you're just a person that don't care. Yeah.
To me, is that integrity. Even the code for the streets, you still lose your credibility. You lose something. Yeah, but yeah.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah. B, I'm my stance. Yeah, my stance is that one. I'm rocking the fence on that one. I can't go left or right. My ass is right on the fence. Right where it split. It's right there.
Yeah, I think I agree with both of you ladies. I feel like at the end of the day, I would say for me, I'm a loyal person by fault. So it takes a while, unless you come for me, it takes me a while to sell out, right? So I'm never gonna sell out if I feel like if you're loyal to me, then I'm not gonna sell you out, right? But the minute I feel like you coming for me or you're not loyal to me, then guess what? All bets are off. I don't really give a care in the world or whatever. But I'm very careful, I guess, not to give my allegiance to just anybody. For me not to have to sell out. Does that make sense?
That's huge.
Yeah. So in order for me not to sell out, I'm very careful. And I'm not saying it doesn't happen or whatever, but I'm very careful of who. But for work, I don't really give a crap about selling out work, because guess what? At the end of the day, they think you're replaceable anyway. If I'm not doing it, if I know that I work hard and you're going to sell me out anyway, or if you're taking advantage, then I don't really care what happens, right? Because at the end of the day, it's not diminishing me because of the fact that if I know I've given 100% and I'm moving to better myself, because guess what? They don't care about you. They're using you for your skills anyway. So if I have to do what's better for me and my integrity, I don't worry about that, because guess what? At the end of the day, when it comes to the work environment, it's either you or them. Like, let's just be honest. Like, sometimes we think like the loyalty, they don't have loyalty to you. You have loyalty when it comes to work. You know what I mean? They don't have loyalty to you.
That's true.
I think it's not necessarily for me. I don't think it's loyalty to work. I think it's loyalty to the people on the team who I can feel loyal to. Let's be very clear about that.
I agree.
Loyalty to the business, to the company, you're a number to them. I think it's to the people that are on your team, the relationships that are built. And that's earned. I'm not saying you don't get that right off the break.
Yeah.
It's the loyalty that has been earned along the way.
Yeah. But I feel like even with the team, sometimes I'm not trying to be funny, but I feel like as much, again, that we try to be loyal to the team, people will still do what's best for them. So sometimes we try to be loyal to people.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It's the people. It's the people on your team. Because if you think about it also, too, if you pay attention in people's careers, they move around to different company based on the people that they worked for. You know what I'm saying? People are trying to build teams in other places. Okay? So you ever notice, especially, again, going back to the hospitality industry, that's like a new general manager comes. He has certain people that he brings along with him.
That is correct.
Right? And when I say him, I mean him or her. in the position. They bring along with them because they built those relationships and they built those loyalties and they put those people because they know they're going to get the work done. So they're building teams.
Right.
So that's what I mean by loyalty, that you build some loyalty. Because I can say this, that there is in my, I ain't going to say the name who I worked for, but in the 11 years that I worked for them, 11, 12 years that I worked for them, there's certain people that I have built loyalty to that if I went someplace else and they'd be like, yo, Lisa, I need you to come through at this other property or whatever, I'm going to come through because I built a loyalty and I built a relationship and I, you know what I'm saying? There's a team, the loyalty. So I'm going to come through for that person. So a lot of times it's not the company per se, it's the people that relationships that you've built over the years. So you have loyalty to them.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Tip, tip, tip. Tip, tip, tip. Tip, tip, tip. Tip, tip, tip.
The tips for this episode are
if you are going to sell out, be honest and transparent about it. That is my tip.
Nice. My tip is your word is your bond. That's all you have.
My tip is watch your back. Okay. Well, if you selling out, watch your back.
But yeah, that was good. To sell out or not to sell out. Who knows?
Yeah, who knows? Yeah. D Lyman crew, thank you for checking in with us on another episode. Please leave your comments and your questions that you have for us, and also tell us about opportunities and times that you either had to sell out or you didn't sell out. Right. Terry?
And we're out.
Thank you for joining us this week on Unfiltered Lyman with BLT. Check us out on Instagram, Twitter, and join our Facebook page. As always, subscribe to our show to catch every new episode. Leave us a review so we can continue to bring you fresh and exciting content. See you next Thursday, same time, same station. Unfiltered Lyman with BLT is edited and produced by Unfiltered Lyman with BLT.